Mortals, happy 219. It's freshly back from New Year's and holidays and Christmas and Kwanzaa and Hanukkah. Happy day. Happy 2025. Let's start this off with a bang. Introducing Director OS. If you're in the funeral profession, it's taken 18 short months. No, it's taken 18 long months. I have for you an exclusive course opportunity. Yes, teaching everything it is that I know for you to become the best version of yourself with Director OS. If you're in the funeral profession, if you are a director, if you are on your way to becoming a director, and maybe you feel stuck, maybe you need to discover or rediscover this passion within. Maybe, just maybe, you feel templatized. Maybe you feel like you have the blinders on. We were always doing it this way. Maybe you're tired of that. If you are one of those wanting to be progressive and to propel the profession into the next generation, it takes a pioneer, and it takes you. I have the course available for you. Clicking that right now in the show notes and description gets you signed up for Director OS. You will have access to the keys to the kingdom, including a community that's inclusive. That's all I believe in. So directors, people who are in the profession, get it now. Also, mortals, if you want to know behind the scenes, if you want to get to know the music, the heart behind, if you want behind the scenes, exclusive content, releases before anybody else, like my new single that's going to be coming out, mortals know. You can sign up right now. And weekly giveaways. Yep, all available there. That is your update. We do have a new single coming out. More details to come, but if you're a mortal, you'll know first and foremost. This is 219. This is The Mortals, ladies and gentlemen, the podcast, the show which pulls back the curtain and takes down the walls brick by brick and exposes the hearts of those caring for those you love mostest. And we're going to roll the beautiful bean footage now. I just took a shower. I was outside shoveling snow. We got like 8-9 inches and it's still coming down. I was shoveling the driveway. Why? Why don't you just use the blower that you got, the snow blower? Well, I gave it to my mom because I'm a good son. But I was shoveling, and so I got soaking wet, cold, and then my hair was freezing. And then I took a shower, and I was like, I'm going to record a podcast. So if I look sweaty, it's not so much sweat. Maybe I am still sweating. That is why. Podcast first. It is coming down. I'm looking out the window of the studio. And if you are, remember the days when you would just ask people, what podcast are you listening to? Could you imagine 5 years ago, 4 years ago, you said, hey, what podcast are you watching? People are like, what the fuck are you talking about? Now people say, what podcast are you watching and listening to? That's me, The Mortals. And you can absolutely watch this episode and every episode. You can check it out on my YouTube channel at Nathan Morris Music. And also, just so you know, this is all just housekeeping stuff. I would love for you to check out my new Mortician channel. I've got all kinds of channels over on the YouTube. Check it out. I would love it. Meet me over there. Subscribe and make sure you stay up to date on all of that. But you'll be able to see my face is what my point was. Yes, long-winded. And also the studio, the lights, I moved them. And so I can't seem to get, it's like the lights are, hang on. It's like the lighting is different. I moved the lights and I messed it all up. It's what I get. Welcome to the show, the shit show that is The Mortals. Had a great Christmas, the 26th I spent with the boys, and had a really, really good time. And I took a few days off. And then I guess I got sick. I don't know. I think I was. I've been getting sick. Like, I was feverish for like a week and my lower back was hurting. And this is definitely just giving you all the information, but this is what I said I would do, is pull back the curtain. And then one day, like, I felt like I was going to explode. Like, I didn't know which way it was going to come out or not come out. I couldn't pee, couldn't poop, didn't know what I was doing. I was freaking out. I was like, I need to go to the hospital. It was really bad. And I was like bent over. And I finally like kind of peed. And then I noticed a little friend just floating around in the pee. And yep, yours truly. I didn't know that I had them, but I guess I had a kidney stone. Not once, not twice, but thrice. 3 times. Three, which explains a lot over the past like week. Just feeling feverish and my back. I'm still sore. Didn't probably help to go out and shovel, but I'm back. I was a little aloof from the socials, but I think it was important to have a little time as well with the kids and just taking care of self. Did you do anything fun? did you have a great holiday? Was your holiday one that was for the books, or was it one to just like get the hell out of Dodge? You know, you're like, okay, I'm ready for this to be over. Is there a really good balance that you can find in life where you're like, okay, I'm present, I'm good? I know there is. It's like, where is that? Where is that balance? And I was just released a video not too long ago, I think it was yesterday, on Nathan Morris Music on TikTok, and I was talking about strive for perfection, right? That be your guiding light, but know that you won't attain it, but still allow for that to be the thing that you're striving for and not getting frustrated when you don't achieve it. For instance, I hate playing golf because I suck at it. Instead of just playing golf, realizing I suck at it and enjoying the camaraderie or the conversation or the whatever, I not to mention it's a super expensive freaking sport and I don't want to make time for it, but that's just an example. You probably do the same thing too with something, but I feel there's this balance where we can be at the family dinner or we could be somewhere and find the good in it. Still working on that. Let me know how that's going for you. If it is, if it isn't, I totally feel you. And at the top of the show, I was talking about Director OS for 18 months working on, and I think this is of interest to everyone because it's 2025. I'm really excited to embrace this, me, who I am, musician, mortician, father, and podcaster, and creator, and influencer, and entertainer, and entrepreneur. And I've been working on Director OS for 18 months. 18 months of just what are some major pain points right now with funeral directors or people who are apprentices or looking to be in the funeral profession. And I obviously wanted to find a place to start. Like, where do I start? Because there's so much knowledge that I have that have been shared with me or that I've learned, that I've just attained. Where do I start and what do I share? And so I just started putting the pen to the paper. Over the course of 18 months, I've been refining and refining and refining and refining. And I've got it to the place right now where I have flipped the switch. DirectorOS.com. Link is in the show notes and description. If you're in the funeral profession, I have literally poured out everything that I have learned in regards to the exceptional funeral director. And this course is going to drastically shift the way that people who take this course, who invest in this course, how they see things, how they interact with not only their peers within the profession in the four walls, but even on social media, because it is a profession that at a moment's notice will drop everything for a stranger, but at a moment's notice will also throw their own to the wolves. And I bore witness to that. And I have created a community, a course of inclusion and kindness and no more gatekeeping. Like, remember Wilson in Home Improvement? The dude would just peer over the backyard fence. Pay attention to the grass in your own. The profession is so competitive, and a lot of these very simple things are being overlooked that can drastically just propel the director and their ability to be confident or to be more creative, the permission to be. It's almost as if they need to be permitted to be creative. It's all there, from phone etiquette to hospitality to rediscovering to also looking and starting at the parking lot. And there's so much more to it. It is something I put my heart and soul into, and it is available. And I am invested in sharing my knowledge. It is available to those in the profession. I'm really proud of it. And those of you who aren't in the profession but have been following for a long time, maybe it's a macabre that brought you, all the stories that I talk about in the socials and on the TikTok or Instagram, on the TikTok. Go to the Target, go to the Walmart. I'm pulling back from a business, from a thought leader perspective, and I'm creating the opportunity to say, here it is. Take it, implement it, and I assure you things will drastically shift for you, and not only in your four walls, but within self. And it takes pioneers with anything, whether Director OS or it takes people who are willing to throw themselves out there. That's when positive change happens, right? Good things are happening, and you come up with this idea. I just watched Imitation Game again last night, and the guy, the oh my gosh, can't think of the character's name. It's during World War II, and in England, has these code breakers that are working tirelessly, and they're working on trying to crack the code for the Enigma machine that the Germans have, that at midnight it changes every day. So anything they work on all day long, if they don't crack it by midnight, then it's for nothing. And this gentleman who essentially created arguably the first computer in the world, there was 150 million different scenarios or ways in which that could be cracked, if you will. So he created this machine that cracked the code. And over the course of 2 years, they kept it a secret for, actually, it didn't get declassified for 50 years past World War II, but basically it saved millions and millions of lives. And it also, they said, arguably cut off 2.5 years of the war. My point is he got ridiculed. He ultimately, and unfortunately, he took his life in 1951. However, what he did because of what he believed in, because of, he knew that it was for a larger purpose than self, and he believed in what he was doing, that he put his neck out, and it was him pioneering, and his group and his team that pioneered. And posthumously, he was awarded some very high honor, and by Queen Elizabeth II. My point, I guess, in all of that is, you got to stick your neck out, or you can play it safe. But what's fun in playing it safe? And so this is a very exciting time for all things Director OS, and I'm sticking my neck out there and sharing everything that I know. And I hope that you will take advantage of it, you in the funeral profession, because I know with every fiber of my being that if these things are implemented, it will drastically change the way in which you serve and the way in which you feel while serving. That is 2025 in a blip. We flipped the switch literally yesterday or today. It's always being refined. This is 219, and it's crazy because we're going to be talking about our 3 random facts. 3 random facts, as always, are brought to you by Descript. Descript is how in which I create the podcast, and you need to start a podcast, especially those of you who are going to take the course. I want to share with you 3 random facts, but they're intriguing, about people born in the month of April. That's me. Uncovering there's unique and lesser known events even that shaped history during the month of April. All right, number 1. Are you ready? People born in April. They're naturally bold but secretly sensitive. People born in April, mostly Aries and some Taurus, I don't get into that, but I just made that note. They're known for their bold and confident personalities. But under that tough exterior, they often harbor a deep sensitivity to criticism. I can attest. I agree with that. I think that we're more sensitive than a lot of people. We want people to like us, and I say that with funeral professionals even, but they're more prone to criticism as being painful instead of constructive, even if constructive. So Robert Downey Jr., he's born in April. Did you know that? You didn't? Okay, here you go. This is important for me, is criticism is a beautiful thing. Even a non-constructive criticism. Being constructively criticized is really great, which also tells me to tell you, if you are going to just throw a stone, be sure to go over, dust the person off that you've pegged, and then offer them some encouragement and ways to make it better. If you're just going to throw the stone, then you go fly a kite. That's silly. But also, if you're receiving that blow, then be okay with it. It's a twofer. If you're receiving it, don't take it personal, Nathan. If you're throwing it, you better be ready to back it up with something, or you're wasting your time. Don't be one of those people. Here's another interesting fact. People born in April, they usually are magnetic in energy, and they're great leaders. April babies have a natural inclination toward leadership, whether it's organizing a neighborhood barbecue or running a Fortune 500 company. They command attention and respect. Interesting. Speaking of Queen Elizabeth II, just talking about it, she was born in April, and she absolutely honored the tradition of who came before her. And then also she was very innovative, and she was only caught during her reign, I think, one time dozing off in 60 something. It's amazing, really. I mean, politics aside, just how not only dignified she was able to stay. Could you imagine every stupid, boring, ridiculous... Okay, I'll backtrack. We had a bishop of the Catholic Church, where I'm from, the Diocese of Owensboro, God rest his soul. One-on-one, small groups, amazing. Seriously, he'd just rip cigs all day long and had great stories. You put that man in a church congregation setting during a very large ceremony, such as, let's say we call it the senior in high school, when I was a senior in high school, the ring mass. That's where all the seniors at Owensboro Catholic High School got their rings blessed, and the bishop would show up and he would give a homily, which is in the middle of the mass. It's packed because you have every grandmom that you may or may, you have everybody in this church. And then you have the homily from him that just rambles, and then his farewell, if you will. At the end of the mass, he would say, go in peace, but before we go in peace, and then it'd start all over again. Dude was terrible at it. So I was just saying, Queen Elizabeth, being able to sit with people like Bishop, God rest his soul, great man. Some people just don't have the gift of gab when it comes to congregations. She did it, and she did it well. And then, last but not least, people born in April are masters of mischief. April-born individuals often have a sharp sense of humor and love playing harmless pranks. Perhaps it's no coincidence that April Fool's Day kicks off the month. I can't hold a prank. Because if I start a prank, if I start saying like, oh, insert, I get so nervous that they're going to get uncomfortable, angry, something. I'm like, I'm just kidding. So I blow the cover really, really quick. It's really pathetic, actually. Is there a prank that you have done that you're just like, I'm amazingly happy and proud of that? If you're watching this on YouTube, be sure to subscribe and let me know in the comments. Also, you can most certainly do so with listening on whichever platform you're listening to, especially like Spotify. All right. Share your favorite, because I think it's important to read that. When I say important, I mean like it's important because I want to laugh. What's your funniest prank story? What is a great, great prank story? I thought I'd add a little part 2 of this. I wrote on here, there is quite a few, 1, 2, 3. There's quite a few April events. I love history, of course, if you've been following for a while. And I wanted to think about what are April history events, but not ones that everyone would necessarily know, like the inauguration of Roosevelt, obviously, but something like the Great Molasses Flood of 1919. This is the part 2 of the random facts. This is, well, so it wasn't actually in April, but the efforts in Boston stretched well into the spring. So in other words, it was completed in April. So a sticky tidal wave of molasses destroyed buildings, leaving unexpected. Could you imagine? It's like, what happened to your house? Tornado? Nope, molasses. So this happened in Boston in 1919, and this event influenced regulations and urban planning that had not yet been in effect previously, all because of some asses and their molasses. All right, what about number 2, April 27th, 1937, which is the first Social Security number being issued. Most people do not know that the fascinating story of the Social Security number was devised. The first recipient was John D. Sweeney Jr., and this number transformed personal identity in America, 000001. And of course, now you have people who they get access to your Social Security number, and then they just ruin your entire lives. And number 3, what about April 11th, 1970? We do know about Apollo 13, but did you know that Houston, we have a problem? That was in April of 1970. Interesting, right? So if you don't know that story, I won't go into much detail because some of you are like, space. There's like this huge space thing going on. Which, did you see the photograph of the 2 astronauts who are supposed to be just doing a days-long mission? They're stuck in there for months, and now they have magical Christmas hats? The fuck? Give me a break. Give me a break. But also, here's a little caveat. A solar flare a few days prior to the mission in April of 1970 caused unanticipated interference with spacecraft systems. Oh, interesting. Interesting. April is the only month with all 30 days consistently having the same Gregorian alignment since its adoption in 1582. April is the birth month of the first American president to die in office, William Henry Harrison, April 4th, 1841. And April 18th, 1906, the Great San Francisco earthquake and fire reshaped urban disaster preparedness forever. Interesting. If you're an April baby, though, do these traits from above, do they resonate with you? Let me know, because I think it'd be interesting. Are you mischievous? No? Interesting. Be sure to join the Mortals. Link is in the bio. I would love for you to have first access, first looks, first listens of all the stuff. Oh, the stuff. That's like behind the scenes and all that. All right. It's been 1 week since you looked at me. This is the part. The spooky part. We're going to Borley Rectory in England for our friends over yonder. Located in the small village of Borley, Essex, Borley Rectory was built in 1862 by Reverend Henry Bull. Designed as a residence for the parish rector, the Gothic-style building quickly became known as the most haunted house in England. Any other time, it's like the most haunted place in the world. The rectory was constructed on the site of an old monastery, and legend has it that a monk and a nun fell in love centuries before. Now, I do know of modern day, well, it was a priest and a nun, but it wasn't a monk. Monkin, that's a good band name. Ladies and gentlemen, Monk and Nun. Their forbidden romance ended in tragedy when the monk was executed and the nun was bricked alive into the monastery's walls. Holy shit. This story sets the tone for a supernatural reputation of Borley Rectory. Interesting. So there's the Bull Family Era, which lasted from 1862 to 1927. Reverend Henry Bull and his family moved in shortly after the rectory was completed. Almost immediately, strange occurrences began, such as unexplained footsteps that echoed through these empty corridors. Of course, there's always footsteps. Even my stories have footsteps, which are brains. Family members reported seeing the ghost of a nun wandering the garden, and her figure seemed mournful and silent. And objects would move on their own, and doors would slam without explanation. Spooky. Reverend Bull reportedly embraced the paranormal activity, even building a summer house in the garden where he could sit and watch for ghostly figures. Reverend Bull, you crazy ass. And then there was the Foister family. And that was from 1930 to 1935, and the Foister family intensified hauntings happened here. In 1930, Reverend Lionel Foister and his wife, Mary Ann, moved into the rectory. Their experiences were even more terrifying. Poltergeist activity became common, with household items flung across rooms and windows shattered from the inside. Mysterious messages appeared on walls, often pleading for help. Mary Ann Foister was reportedly violently attacked by an invisible force, leaving her with unexplained scratches and bruises, and witnesses reported hearing disembodied whispers, sobbing, and even screams. I've seen video where people were in these crazy places and then they're like, my back. Not like kidney stone, lower back, but like they lift their shirts and it looks like a long-nailed something got to them and was scratching. It's pretty wild. Lionel or Lionel. Lionel documented the events meticulously, sending accounts to the paranormal researcher Harry Price. His investigations brought national attention to Borley Rectory. And then in 1937 to 1939, Mr. Harry Price, he investigates. He's a paranormal investigator, very much they would call renowned. He leased the rectory for a year, and he assembled a team to document the activity that he caught. Price's findings, they included cold spots and sudden temperature drops in certain rooms, phantom bells ringing, even after the rectory's bell system was removed. So the system was totally removed, which, by the way, they have these really tall steeples at churches now, and you think that these awesome bells, and but most of them are just speakers. Sorry to burst your bubbles, guys. And then a seance where a spirit claimed the rectory would burn down, revealing a hidden skeleton, is what they captured. The prediction came true in 1939 when a fire gutted Borley Rectory. During the cleanup, the skeletal remains of a young woman were discovered in the basement, thought to be the nun from the original monastery legend. So the legend, it wasn't a legend no more. People don't dance no more. All they do is this. Let me know. What are your thoughts here? And be sure to subscribe to me over on YouTube and let me know there. Here are some modern day experiences that have happened. The Borley Rectory, it has been demolished after this fire. Its grounds remain a hotspot for paranormal enthusiasts. Visitors report shadowy figures lurking among the overgrown ruins, phantom footsteps heard on quiet nights. I wonder what those sound like. If it's like just on the ruins themselves are kind of making noise like they're being disrupted. The scent of burning despite no visible fire. Orbs of light floating near the site, captured in photographs. And then some visitors have felt an overwhelming sense of sadness or dread, often accompanied by nausea or vomiting. Interesting. Locals often speak of eerie occurrences in nearby homes, believing the hauntings have spread to the rectory's ruins. This is very interesting. I always find that very intriguing. Do you think that the nausea aspect is because it's like evil, or do you think it's just because it's so energy filled? What are your thoughts? I don't know. Here are some theories. Residual energy, the violent deaths and emotional trauma, they say that it's associated with the site, may have kind of what they call imprinted themselves on the land. And then also some think it might be fraud or imagination. Some skeptics, they argue that Harry Price himself exaggerated his findings for publicity, but consistent accounts from unrelated witnesses lend credibility to the hauntings. But also, you have to listen to this podcast called, and let me pull it up, it's called Hysterical. You know how we see and hear about police officers, thankful to our first responders, men and women in uniform, but police officers who are exposed to fentanyl and have these fentanyl attacks and overdoses where they're passing out and they're stopping breathing and they need to have work done to be resuscitated or to get the, what's it called? The Narcan. They think it might be hysteria. It's like our brains are so powerful. Even doctors, just so you all know, I know this is way off topic, but it's not, because it's saying that Harry Price has created and exaggerated so much there that maybe people going there will trick their brains into having these experiences and then experiencing nausea, just like these law enforcement officers were told in a video one time that, hey, fentanyl overdose, you could die. And then 300 and something cases, which then a doctor comes on this podcast, check it out, it's called Hysterical, says you can handle it with your bare skin. You could be in a tunnel, a wind tunnel of it, and have tons of it, and you would not have an episode. No health professional has had an episode, but only law enforcement. Interesting. You got to check it out. I don't know if I'm articulating it enough other than saying that our brains are very powerful. And if enough imagination is thrown into something or making you think a certain way, then people will jump on board and start passing out. Portal to the spirit world is what another thought is. Many believe Borley Rectory's location is a site of the monastery, a tragic romance, and unexplained death. It's created this vortex to paranormal activity. Might could. The Borley Rectory continues to fascinate and terrify people worldwide. Whether a true paranormal epicenter or an elaborate tale spun from tragedy, the stories surrounding this rectory reveal the enduring power of folklore, history, and human curiosity. That's very interesting. And I was asking you to let me know about pranks. Like, what's a ridiculous prank that you've maybe been a part of or maybe you've seen happen? There is a lot of creativity when it comes to, I need to get some balls when it comes to the creative prank stuff. Let me know and share that with me. Also, feel free to share your stories, because each and every week I share and read my lights are making weird noises all of a sudden. I share and read comments or messages I receive from you, and it means so very much to me. And so I appreciate you reaching out. You can catch me on all the socials. I'll link them all in the description and show notes. But I want to share with you a prank, and then you can share with me, and it'll be just like one big sharing happy family. Okay, here's the setup. This epic prank, it took place in a mid-sized corporate office known for its casual and fun-loving atmosphere. And this office had an open plan design, open floor, with individual cubicles for employees, but one senior manager had their own private office, we'll call him Greg, at the far end of the floor. Greg was known for being good-humored, but also incredibly particular about his workspace. Everything on his desk had this designated place, down to the angle of the stapler. Have you seen my stapler? Name that movie. One Friday, Greg announces that he was going to be taking a week off for a family vacation, and a group of his coworkers, led by, we'll call her Sarah, the self-proclaimed office prankster, saw this as the perfect opportunity to play a harmless but unforgettable prank. And so the plan goes, Sarah and the team decide to relocate Greg's entire office furniture decor, even the coffee mug on his desk, to the elevator. And they wanted to recreate his office in such a meticulous detail that it would look like his workspace had magically teleported. So they started to gather all the supplies. So they took pictures of the office, every angle, to ensure everything would be placed exactly as it was. This is brilliant. They collected moving equipment, tape, and an identical rug to replicate the floor of his office inside the elevator. And then on Friday, after Greg leaves, the team worked into the night to do this. They dismantled the office. They put the pins in his pencil holder and began reconstructing it inside the elevator, like the pens and pencils in the pencil holder. They took them out to replace them exactly right. So Sarah even brings in plants from home to match the ones that are on Greg's windowsill. And the final touch is the elevator buttons were covered with a thin removable panel to prevent accidental use. A sign was taped on the elevator doors that read, "Out of service, use stairs." This ensured no one would use the elevator over the weekend and ruin the surprise. On Monday morning, Greg returns from vacation, coffee in hand, and heads to his office. He stopped short when he saw his workplace completely empty, walls bare, furniture gone. Confused and slightly alarmed, he turned to Sarah, who was conveniently nearby. "What happened to my office?" he said. And she said, I don't know, maybe you should try the elevator. Greg, now suspicious, presses the call button. The doors slide open to reveal his entire office perfectly replicated inside the elevator. His desk lamp was even turned on. Greg laughs, claps his hands, shakes his head. He steps into the elevator, sits down at the desk. "Well, I guess I'm working from here today." He spent the first half hour of his morning in the elevator, entertaining colleagues who came by to take pictures. That's awesome. Moral of the story, best pranks are creative, harmless, and rely on the goodwill of everyone involved. So obviously, if you're going to go to elaborate lengths of moving offices, then you should maybe make sure that Gregs of the world are not sensitive little bunnies born in April. Someone wrote to me, which I thought was very interesting. I guess timing is coincidental, but also our brains tend to be like, oh, well, that aligns. But also it is creatively, I don't know if it's creative. I think it's nice. So thanks for all of you who reach out and message me. You can most certainly do so. And I try my best to respond or acknowledge. It's just something I'm very grateful for. And I try very hard. I can't get to everybody, but thank you. If you want to reach out to me, you can catch me on all the socials at Nathan Morris on Instagram, at Nathan Morris Music on TikTok and YouTube. Be sure to subscribe to me over there too. So this person says that there's a lot of changes that they feel are headed my way. They were talking about how appreciative they are of me This person says, you can tell my energy, you can tell your energy doesn't go unnoticed. You also have a phenomenal voice. That's awesome. You look 100 in a suit and with no shirt, all being so real. You are a real, thank you for the compliment. That's amazing. Thank you for that. I really appreciate it. I was invited to a birthday party, which was nice. Thank you for the invitation. Obviously, I will respectfully decline and let you know that I'm grateful for the invitation. I'm still waiting for Nutter Butter to respond. You know, I'm reading more. See here. You're the reason I became a funeral director. I love getting those. Those make me so happy. Honestly, so happy. I'd love to get into the industry. I'd love to get into mortuary school. I'm just hoping to get a foot in the door. What would you suggest? I'm not opposed to the groundy work nobody else wants to do. It just seems like nobody has any positions available unless I have my schooling done. I'd take any position. They're going on and asking. Interesting. So I get a lot of questions about that. I'm scrolling through here. People sending nice messages. So nice. It's cool to see more people in the funeral profession starting social media, like starting channels, starting accounts, and then seeing people support them, if that makes sense. It's like the craziest thing is that wasn't always the case. And I think it takes people to kind of step in and I think it takes people stepping in and doing the work and taking the brunt of stuff. I don't know. I'm not saying that they're martyred per se, but I'm trying to scroll and talk at the same time. I don't know if that makes sense. I'm just saying I think that the people that do it first, they're the ones that are going to get the ridicule. They're going to get, not that the people that follow don't, but they're going to get the brunt of it. And yeah. You are so handsome. I absolutely love your TikToks. They're so interesting. Thank you very much for that. I appreciate it, Zoe. It's really nice of you to say. Really cool. Appreciate you. Girls. Thank you for the kind messages, I guess. That's hilarious. That's amazing. Thank you very much. These are so sweet. I'm just scrolling through and reading them. I didn't. That's amazing. I love it. I was bummed when I didn't match with you on Bumble. If it's a fake account, well, this is from forever ago. That's amazing. Oh, Lord. If you want to reach out to me, please feel free to do so. And I'm grateful for your support, your love, your encouragement. Please share my music with a friend and let them know. Let them know about the music. That's what it takes. It takes someone like you. And also, joining the Mortals. When you join, there is a way for you to gift a membership to your friends, and every one of your monetary monthly subscriptions supports me in ways that you do not ever realize. We're working on some new merch as well, but gift a membership to a friend. You can also sign up for free. You could be the apprentice or you could be the director. See what I did there? All of that's linked in the show notes and description. This is episode 219 of The Mortals. This is my heart, and I meet you where you are. I want to assure you, you are loved far more than you could ever know. This has been fun. I'm going to go eat some puffins. Of course, I'm going to go eat puffins. I tip my hat. Oh, wow. I look like Peaky f***ing Blinders. Goodbye.